Singing in the Forest, posted by Salem. I live in a rural but not isolated area in the Midwest. My window is up against the forest, which is about 50 or 60 feet away from the tree line. My window is about 20 or so feet above ground level. I heard what I am convinced was a low, echoing, humming-like song from the woods. I have heard turkey, coyote, fox, deer, squirrel, and so on before. Their cries, calls, and barks. This was none of those. As I laid there in bed, as I began to concentrate on the sound, I couldn't shake the mental conclusion of woman singing. The sound persisted for about 15 to 20 seconds, then stopped, but not suddenly. About a minute or two later, it picked back up again. This continued a few more times before it stopped. This sound was distant, not quite deep into the woods, but not at the tree line. There's a small unit of deer that sometimes sleep in a clearing in the woods around that area, but they haven't been there in a few weeks. Some context? I am very much a late night person. I used to work graveyard shifts due to my ability to stay alert so long into the night. This is how I know what all these common and uncommon woodland creatures sound like. And no, I did not look outside my window. My thought process was, if I can't identify it, don't look for it. I still think I was right to not seek out an immediate answer. Additionally, the song was clear. I don't know what happens to me. Posted by Red Much. Hi, I'm French, and my name is Matthew. So it all started when I was 8 years old. I was in my old, very large house, and I was taking a bath. Everything was going well, when suddenly the light in the bathroom went out, without power cuts. I wanted to call my mom, but no sound was coming out as I was screaming. But nothing. And suddenly, I felt a cold hand squeeze my shoulder. Then the light came back on and nothing. Then I moved to another house. This time it got worse. One evening around 11 p.m., everyone was asleep. When suddenly I heard someone knocking on my bedroom door. I thought it was my mother. I opened, but no one. I look at my mother's room, but she was sleeping soundly. 1 hour later, I was on YouTube when suddenly I heard someone knocking very hard on my door. I think this was the longest 5 seconds of my life, and nothing more. Nights passed, and I regularly hear falling objects or changing places. And one day, I was going to college. But I took the bus, so I walked to the bus stop. I specify that the path that I take is not lit in the morning, so it's almost completely dark. I had to pass in front of a huge field. It scared me very much, and that's when I saw something that terrified me. Someone standing, staring at me with a knife in their hand. I ran to the bus stop, and in the evening I spoke to my mother, who didn't believe me at all. That was the events of my old house. After, and then I'm currently living in an apartment with only one neighbor. It was very nice. The first days after the move, everything went very well. I slept very well. Then one night around 2 a.m., I heard in the abandoned attic above my apartment footsteps and moving furniture. It scared me because the attic was extremely unnoticeable. Then it continued until strange things happened at home. I cry just to talk to you. A month ago, it was evening. I was alone at home and I was watching Netflix in peace. Then I heard the front door close. The problem is that it was locked. I locked my room. No, I thought it was my mother trying to prank me, but no. Something was walking in the hallway where my room was. And the worst part is that I could hear her fingernails scratching against the wall. I told my mother, but she still doesn't believe me. And they happen to me regularly. to see the lights blinking or shadows of unknown origin passing in the house. I'm telling you, it gives me big chills. Who or what did I meet in the woods? Posted by Vegan Sasquatch. I'm from California. And way back when I was on the college search, I realized that I'd likely go out to the East Coast if I wanted to play field hockey. My mom and I organized a road trip through Massachusetts, New York, Pennsylvania, and Rhode Island to hit a bunch of different schools in a short amount of time. One of the schools was Ithaca College. It was a last-minute decision to stop there, so we didn't have much time to explore the general area afterwards. We had been told by multiple people that the waterfalls in the area were beyond gorgeous and worth the stop. So my mom and I decided to swing by one before we left for Pennsylvania. We put Ithaca Falls in our rental car GPS, and it brought us to this red curb loop and an old run-down overlook of the falls. This overlook was down a hill and through some trees, so my mom didn't want to leave the car on a red curb. She encouraged me to go down and check it out on my own. And I did. The first time I went down, I was sure to be observant of everything around me. Didn't want any randos in the woods sneaking up on me. I went to the ledge and took some pics, sat and listened to the water for a while, then turned to go back up. When I turned, I got this odd feeling as if someone was watching me or standing with me. I got uncomfortable and looked around. Nothing appeared to be wrong. So I calmly headed back up the hill, got in the car, showed my mom the photos, and realized I didn't take a video. My mom suggests I go back down to get a video. We've got time. So again, I do. Second time I go down, I feel a little less happy. I was down a slope, so my mom couldn't see me. I felt more alone and exposed than the time before, and that sinking feeling kept growing. I go to the edge, take the video with shaking hands. Now I'm feeling like I need to get out of there. An intense sense of urgency. I turn around to go back up, and some force stops me dead in my tracks. I'm frozen there, like a rabbit or deer frozen in headlights. I literally cannot get myself to move forward or take a step. An absolutely overwhelming sense of dread sweeps over my body and presses on my chest. Just such dread. I literally feel like I'm going to die. I still can't move and sit there terrified as I feel a massive presence come up behind me. This thing felt big and so real, and yet I can't get away. I'm still stuck and helpless. I keep standing there, too scared to turn around, unable to move. When the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, it bends towards me, and right next to my right ear says, "You-hoo." I kid you not. When I heard that, I ran faster than I have in my entire life. I tore up that hill, still too afraid to see what was behind me. I got in the car, slammed the door, and like a movie, went, "Drive!" My mom looks at me in disbelief and goes, "Is everything okay?" I say, "Just drive!" She told me later that I was pale white, and that the sense of urgency in my voice just told her she had to get away from whatever I was scared of. What spooks me so much about this story is that I never turned around. It felt so real that it could have been a person, but I was right against the overlook. I don't think anyone could have snuck up behind me. And I've also gotten that sense of dread visiting other haunted places. I really feel that it was something paranormal. As for the yoo-hoo, it didn't sound male or female. It did sound mean, however, as if it was trying to scare me or intimidate me. I've had a few paranormal experiences, but this one certainly takes the cake for scariest. I hope all of you enjoy, and I would love to hear your thoughts as to what it was. The Dark Watchers of Big Sur, posted by Omega the Legend 03. I've recently discovered the phenomenon of the Dark Watchers. These black motionless figures that stand on the lonely peaks and ridges of the coastal Santa Lucia Mountains in the Big Sur region. It's a fascinating thing that's gripped my interest, especially considering how old the accounts of these beings are. The first Spanish settlers, until now, have recorded seeing them, and there's been no slowdown in sightings. I'm curious if anyone on this platform has any information on this subject, interesting stories, histories of it, maybe even a sighting of your own. I'd like to ask if you want to share it without the risk of being made fun of or ridiculed, as I myself have been. I've seen enough high strangeness to know that even the most ridiculous stories could possibly be true.